Report. This is the Mike and Ken Show, and we have a special guest for Faith, Family, and Football this week. And that special guest is none other than that boy Jay Tuck. What's up, Jay Tuck? How you
What's
doing,
up?
man?
What's up, fellas, man? Hey, thanks for having me. We are just days away, I would say, from camp out there in Oxnard. So I'm excited. It's been in such a quiet off season for the Dallas Cowboys, which I definitely enjoy. Been resting and relaxing. So, probably here on the 28th, that's when all the fun starts. And I can't be more excited. Jerry just took off the logos and now it's back to, being AT&T Stadium. So he's ready to rock and roll. So it's football season now. So I'm ready, man. How are you guys?
Pretty good, man. We are just watching this game, like you were saying earlier, England and Argentina. England was
Mhm.
up 1-0 the whole game, and then we get the Messi magic, and now it's
Messy magic,
2-1.
man. It's phenomenal, man. I was blessed to go take my son to go see Messi the first game and to see that the run that they're on is just incredible. It's just incredible, man. I know Argentinian fans are probably going bonkers right now. And hey, you're there. Let's go win the whole thing. So yeah, maybe I kind of got adopted as an Argentina fan when I was out there, like, oh yeah, man, you're with us. And then this past Saturday, I got to go back out to the fan festival here in Kansas City. And, they were like, yeah, man, we remember you. So I'm kind of an Argentina fan. So, hey, I told them, hey, if y'all win, I need to come celebrate with y'all too, man. Because, my Dallas Cowboys, I ain't got much to celebrate as of lately. So I'm definitely going to cherish the moment if Argentina hosts the trophy.
Yeah, they're going nuts right now. I'm watching, and the fans are definitely excited because this is their, I guess, second time to go now. They won it
Yeah.
last 4 years. So,
Yep.
and now I was thinking, with all the ACL injuries and everything that the NFL has, why don't they keep the grass?
You're right.
After they put in all that work. And I mean, I know I like playing on grass better than turf. I think turf was a great idea when it was first invented, but
Hmm.
now that they have the technology and just
Hmm.
the way of telling how people get injured,
Hmm.
I've seen way more ACL tears and uh, bad sprains and stuff on even turf toe is a big deal.
Right.
So
Yeah, NFL is all about player and safety until the players start asking for more safety. And it's like, oh, no. Like, hey, 18 games, you're going to play on turf. Like, it's just crazy. But it's like, yeah, personally, when I played, I love grass. I hated turf. My college had grass. My high school was turf, but it's just when you fall on it, it's kind of hard and you get the little pellets coming up. And it's just like, you know what? I think football is invented to be on natural grass. And I just think when you watch the World Cup and how those players are moving, did anybody tear any ACLs? Any ACL tears out there during the World Cup, right? So you
nope.
would think the NFL would want to protect their investment, which is the players, but it sounds like Jerry is probably already getting that artificial turf back out there in AT&T. So,
Yeah, along with the curtain removed.
right, curtains removed, all
Yeah,
that, right? So
yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, all the stuff that the players asked for. Hey, man, put the curtains up. Let's play on grass. Jerry is like, nah. I believe the Vegas Raiders, they have grass, and I know they put it like on a belt where they can take it in the stadium, outside the stadium, so it gets natural light, but not in AT&T. So,
Yep, yep, yep. So we're gonna kind of get into this, and we're gonna talk about faith, family, and football today.
okay.
And let's just start out with the beginning. With Ken, he's gonna ask. We'll just kind of alternate, and he'll ask
Okay,
you a question, then I'll ask you a question, and
cool.
just kind of go from there. And we'll try to keep it short and sweet and to the point, but at the same
Okay.
time, we're not gonna hold back.
Yeah,
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Ken. We can't hear you. Well, I don't know what's going on with him. So, with that being said,
Still a question.
I'll go ahead and ask the question. Um, let's start with the beginning. What was your upbringing like?
Yeah, so my upbringing, I grew up in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Probably never heard of it. So grew up in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and then when I was 6 years old, I moved to Wichita, Kansas, the home of Barry Sanders. And that's pretty much where a lot of my upbringing came from. But I was raised by three beautiful women. Rest in peace to my grandma. Her birthday was yesterday, so she was the anchor, the backbone of the family, and of course, my mom and my aunt really helped me down. So my upbringing was tough love. My family always believed in me. They always encouraged me. My mom, a lot of people see the way I act. my mama tell me hold no punches, right? Speak your truth, be bold, be courageous. And as someone I've always been, whether I was playing sports or in school, I was always an individual. I never walked with the crowd. I always kind of found my own voice, did my own thing. And that's something that my mom always encouraged. And, my family really always embraced my creativity as a young child, right? I could draw a lot, so drawing was my thing. So kids used to hover around me and watch me draw. Basketball was my first love. I could play basketball. Work on music. I can do all sorts of different things just from an artistry standpoint. And I felt like teachers would sometimes try to box me in creativity wise, but then I remember my third grade teacher, Mrs. Gold. I wish I could find her. I've looked, I can't find her, but she was the first person that was just like, you know what, go be you. So she put pencils in my hand and would let me come into her class, during lunch and write stories and write books and read books and draw and just go bonkers as far as my creativity is concerned. Now, of course, I have to do my math, my times tables, and all that fun stuff, right? But my upbringing was good. Can't complain. I had 3 amazing women who worked hard to make sure I had the best life as possible, and I would say they did a pretty good damn job. So,
yeah, real quick, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so you said you're from Muskogee, Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
I read that this book talks about Muskogee, Oklahoma. It was about a black man who made $1 million out of oil field in Muskogee.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's funny, right? Because my great grandmother, I'm a Florida State fan, right? But a lot of, if you look, like the Black Seminoles, they were from Oklahoma. So I do have a lot of Indian in my blood as well, because I think she was Cherokee, right? But the story of the Black Seminoles from slavery and all that, I don't want to bore y'all to death, but that was in Oklahoma, and I have a lot of Seminole bloodlines. So when I say I'm no-blooded, I'm literally am no-blooded for real. You know what I'm saying? So,
me too, man. My great grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee Indian.
Okay, there you go.
Mom's side is Irish and Italian, and then I got Cherokee.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a school in Kansas that's for a school for natives, and now I got accepted, but I didn't want to stay local. But people are like, how are you getting accepted? I'm like, because I'm really Indian, like Cherokee, so So when we go to these casinos, sometimes I'm like, hey, bro, where's my cut?
For real.
So yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, that's great, man, that you grew up there. Yeah, I have family from Oklahoma too. My dad's side is all from the Tulsa area.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Tulsa, that's where my brother lives, man, in Tulsa. So
yep. Rest in peace to Mr. Green. My father died a few years ago, but yep.
Rest in peace.
Yes, sir. So Ken, do you want to ask him question number 2?
Oh, I mean, yeah. So when did your faith become personal for you?
Great question. I was always raised in church, especially with my grandma. We went to church in Oklahoma. But I would say for me, right, of course, as a kid and also a teenager, you would go to church with your mom, right, or with your family members or your auntie, but you really didn't want to go. So it probably wasn't until I was probably past my college. So, I was getting away from what I've known. And I told you the story how, my parents and my family raised me to be a great young man. But of course, sometimes we navigate off that course. And so I was making a lot of bad decisions in life, being around bad people, bad situations, and, that ultimately what led to me having to move to Kansas City to stay with my grandmother. And then when I went to stay with my grandmother, she was like, all right, if you're going to live here, though, you got to go to church. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I was going to church with her here in Kansas City. And the crazy part is I was working in the audio room. So I was doing like all the audio mixing boards and all that fun stuff, cameras. So now it's kind of easy, when I'm doing it for content purposes. But when I got to church, I kind of it slowed things down for me, right? You feel the anointing of God, you feel the power, you're around good people, So I was seeing men who looked like me, but they had Mercedes Benzes and BMWs and beautiful wives, and they lived on golf courses with beautiful children. And like, what do? They're not rappers, they're not entertainers, they're not musicians. They just go to work every day. And the way they carried themselves as men, that really kind of just helped change my life for the betterment, right? Wearing suits, being bold, shaking hands properly, saying, yes, sir, looking people in the eye, just that respect that they had. And I was like, I kind of like that, you know, and it's just like that kind of just spiraled. And so then I was meeting with some gentlemen for Bible study, and it's getting in the word, and you know, just the anointing of God just changing me. And honestly, it pretty much saved my life. We'll probably, you know, ask the other questions, so we'll probably get to this whole story what led to that. But you know, it really just saved my life, just the anointing of God. So, you know, me personally, I always give God credit where I'm at still today, because I know without him, I am nothing. A lot of people see a lot of the incredible things that I'm doing, but it's the gift that he gives me. You know, I was in a situation last year, November, right, or October, right before the Cowboys played the Raiders. And, you know, one situation where the bench press collapsed on my chest, crushing my ribs and crushing my sternum. The doctor was saying 2 inches higher, I probably wouldn't be here today. So, you know, by God's grace, he really just puts his hands around me. My grandmother probably said, you know, push the weight a little bit further down. And now I'm back in the gym stronger than ever. You know, got done lifted this morning. We're back at it. So just a testament to God and his grace that he gives me and my family as well.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man, that's amazing. Because we never know when our day is going to be, you know. So
Yeah. It was, I mean, I was getting ready to go to the Vegas game. I had to go on the flight that,
Yeah, Mike
you know,
was
that
there, right?
morning.
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. So I was super excited, and yeah, I was like, okay, we're going to go to Vegas. You know, I went, you know, feeling good. So I'm giving me a little workout before I go to the airport. And then, you know, I had 225, benched it. And then I was fixing my head, and I was done with the workout. This was so crazy, guys. Done with the workout. I'm fixing my headphones, and all of a sudden I see the barbell rolling back, and I'm just like, it's going to catch, right? No, it comes off the clamp, crushes onto my chest. And since it was so early, like 4 a.m, there was grace of God. Once again, one high school kid, only one other person in that gym, and he just heard me scream, and he was able to come help. And I was in the back room, so luckily he heard me. But if he wasn't there, because my arms were pinned above my head, so you know, I told him he's my angel. You know, he saved me, because I couldn't get that weight off, because my sternum and my ribs was fractured and broken. I couldn't push, I couldn't twist. And so, yeah.
So that was like maybe like a wake up call kind of at that moment, like a surreal moment for you, I bet.
I wouldn't say a wake up call, you know, but it's just a realization that God is good. I think for me personally,
Okay.
you know, I had a wake up call prior to me getting in church, you know, prior to that situation. But yeah, I mean, I always just know about God's grace and his mercy, and he's looking out for me. So I wouldn't say it's a wake up call. It's just a reminder of how good he really is.
Well, me personally in my life, sometimes when God grabs our attention, I'm just like, man, that's a wake up call for me, man.
Yeah.
I need to step it up, or I need to, just for me personally, sometimes I'm like, dang, man, I need to like look in the mirror and just like kind of see what God wants me to do next, you know. But that's why I'm just glad that his mercies are new every day, because if they weren't, we would all be in a world of trouble. But
world of trouble. And I'll share my wake up call situation. So, you know, of course I make music, or was making music, you know, it's kind of what led to me stopping and making music. But I was here in Kansas City. Like I said, it wasn't with the best company. I performed in a concert, and some guys that was with my guys, like I didn't even know them. Like, they were kind of just with people, right? They end up getting into an altercation. So, you know, I go out there, I perform, do my thing, right? And we're leaving the club, and, you know, me personally, I have to eat because I'm just performing. I'm starving, right? So they're wanting to go and do what typically you do after going to the club. And I was like, bro, I have to eat. And so thankfully, one of my friends was like, all right, Tuck, I'll take you. We'll go eat, and I'll just take you home, right? Well, the people that they got into the altercation with retaliated and fired shots in the car that I rode to the concert with. Right. The gentleman that was sitting in the same seat that I rode to the concert in, and would have rode home in, or rode to the after party in, which is the front passenger side, he passed away because he got. So that would have been me if I just wasn't starving for Taco Bell. Right. So that was really my wake up call. Like, what am I doing? Why am I in this situation? Why am I around these people, putting myself in the situations? And I think that's when God was like, I just saved you, right? You were here for a reason. And so that's when I never took it for granted ever again, because I was that close to just being a tragedy. And for something that had nothing to do with me. I would just riding in the car that I rode to the concert in, and it was something unfortunate, but that was my personal wake up call, to be honest with you guys.
Man, dude, I've been in a similar situation, but I'm not going to get into it today.
Yeah, man. So, I was like, but I think sometimes people can find a testimony. I think that's where, I just try to be transparent. Like the Jay Tuck or the Jordan Tucker that you guys see today wasn't always there. But I think that was the biggest wake up call. And like I said, God had much bigger plans for me. Because I would have just been a statistic and just been, all the things. I would have met you guys. I wouldn't be able to do all the amazing things with content, right? Or be able to share my story, all because I was just around the wrong crowd in the wrong circle. So
yeah, that's my mom used to always tell me it's always people, places, and things.
Yeah, and those people in that club doing that at that time, it's not a good mix, right? So
yes, sir. We've all been there.
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome that God has protected you and brought you here for such a time as this. Just like I was telling you earlier when I texted you, and asked you if you wanted to do the show. I was like, man, dude, I think you have a gifting. You really do of speech, and God calls certain people to different folds of the ministry. There's fivefold ministry, and I believe that He's called you to preach.
Oh, thanks, man.
So
a lot of people ask me, I don't know. I don't know. Like, sometimes I just move where God tells me to move, but sometimes, I don't want to, I don't know. It's because I never done it before, but heck, I never done a podcast before. I never done, content. I never done it. So, I probably will be nervous my first sermon or wherever I preach, and probably by the fifth one, it's like, okay, because I don't get nervous about crowds because I performed in front of people. I've done 100 shows in front of people. So it would just be, I don't know, can I do it? But, I've always wanted to do a TED Talk, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much just the gospel. So I don't know. So who knows, man? You might look up and, I might be leadership, but I kind of just always follow God's path.
Preaching isn't always what we think it is, though, man. We can preach to anybody, anytime, anywhere, anyway. Whether we use this platform to do it or whether we just do it at work or with family, we can always be that royal priesthood in our home,
right? Just like content, right? Because my pastor, salute to John Perky at my church here in Nexus, he's so powerful. You just hear the word and you just you're just ready to run through it. So it's like I can't do it, but of course he probably wasn't like that when he first started either. But it's just man, you just feel it. You feel his presence when he speaks, and that's probably God speaking to him. But it's like I can never do that.
Hey, the Holy Spirit, man, that He's our helper in our time. Yeah. So all we got to do is just sometimes put our pride down and just let Him work and be His mouthpiece. So
be a vessel.
Yes, sir. Because it says in His word, if we deny Him in front of man, He'll deny us. And so that's one big thing that's always stuck in my heart so I always try to bring it up. They say not to mix, because I own a tree business, they say not to mix it with business. You're not supposed to mix religion or politics, but sometimes it's hard not to bring those things up.
It goes hand in hand, because honestly, I probably wouldn't be at this business if it wasn't for the great love of God, right? I remember, I was in finance, and, there's a lot of testing that you have to do to get licensing. And, I couldn't sleep because I was stressed out, because if you didn't pass exams, you lose your job. And so I just taking tests, and I had to get like an 84 in order to get licensed. I would take practice exams, get a 79. I would get an 80, 81. So I was just stressed out, man, wasn't sleeping good. And I remember I took the test on Monday. I went to church that Sunday, and my pastor, John Perky, he prayed for me, put hands on me. And I swear, it felt like instantly that moment, it just went away. I slept good that night. I went in there, got a 94 on that. I breezed. It's a 6-hour exam. I was done in 2 hours. It was just the craziest thing. And I don't know. My pen was just moving, right? But that was the grace of God. So I tell people I can praise the Lord at work, not super be outward with it, but I give him all the glory, because if not for him, I probably wouldn't even be here. Because if I would have just not went to church that Sunday and took that test, I would have bombed it and got let go, because my anxiety was through the roof. And I just felt like when he and his wife put their hands on me and prayed for me, it was just like, I remember my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to play basketball." She was like, "You are?" I was like, "Yeah, I went and played basketball after church." So,
Man, hey, the Lord probably delivered you and you didn't even know it from something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The deliverance comes in all ways, man. Me and my
Mhm.
wife, we went through deliverance when our marriage was failing,
Mhm.
and we didn't realize we were carrying some things, and
Mhm.
that's why Jesus says in Mark 17, "These signs shall follow those who believe; they shall cast
Mhm.
out demons." That was the first thing he said.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, out of our ignorance in the spiritual realm, because we can't see the spiritual realm, but we know there's angels and demons, right? So,
Right.
um, how do we get demons in our life? Well, we have an open door. Well, how do you get an open door? You watch a scary movie, or you do this, or you do that, or you come into agreement with something, or there's
Mhm.
just it could be a generational curse that's not even your fault, from your father,
Mhm.
from your pastor,
Right. Right.
and so when we are a child of God, we are 24/7 under attack. That's why we got to put our armor on every day.
Mhm.
He says his mercies are new every day. Well, we got to
Mhm.
do our part too every day, and
Exactly.
because they say faith without works is dead, and without him, it's impossible to please God. So,
Mhm.
but it's not of works alone, lest a man boast, it says. But at the same time, we got to do our part, I believe. It says, even Paul said, "You don't work, you don't eat, man."
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, you got to
Exactly.
work, you got to eat. Don't be a lazy, slothful person. You got to be
Right.
intentional about everything you do. But that's awesome, man.
Exactly.
We're going to keep moving right along here. So, we've already talked about that. I guess being tested. Has there been any times in your life where you feel like you've been tested?
Oh, a lot. Going back to that point in my life, I felt like I was just being tested. And like I said, I strayed away from what I've known, right?
Mm,
In a moment that really stands out that, you know, now I can look back on it, but I remember I met with my mom and we were at Quiznos. Like I still see it today. And she would just ask me, like, why am I out doing the stuff that I'm doing? And I was just like, I don't know. But she was like, it seems like you don't care if you live or you die. And I was like, I honestly don't, because I felt like if God really cared about me, he wouldn't put me in these situations. And to see like the look and the hurt on her face, like it's just like, it was heartbreaking, but I was just so stone cold, because when you're out there, doing that stuff, you really have no emotions, right? So, that was a hurtful time, and I feel like I was really being tested, because I did stray away from the word and straight away from what I've known and was raised to do. But ultimately, like I said, he brought me back. But it was a close call where it could have just went the other way. I do have friends who are no longer here, teammates and all sorts of stuff, and people that were doing the same thing. And you look up, they're gone, and all the things that they missed out on because they didn't get their second chance, right? I got my second chance, and I'm extremely thankful for it. But yeah, during that time, I was being tested, and honestly, I was failing a lot, to be fully
mm,
transparent. But sometimes God just shows you grace, shows you mercy, and I was able to find my way out, find my way home.
that's awesome, man. We learn from our mistakes, and
Mhm.
sometimes we got to learn the hard way. But hey, that's always the best teacher, I think. As long as you can
Mhm.
live through it,
Right.
So, Ken, what's the next question
Oh
we got
yeah.
going?
So just to pivot a little bit, you mentioned your wife. What role has she played in your life and for the better?
Oh yeah, man. My wife is my backbone. She's my best friend. She's my stability. It's crazy because a friends will invite me out, and it's just like we went out for the World Cup on Saturday, and it
Mm,
was like 4 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, man, where you got? And they're like, where are you going? I was like, I'm leaving. They're like, you didn't drive. I was like, I know. They're like, well, how are you leaving? You taking an Uber? No, my wife's on. They're like, bro, you text your wife to come get you? Yeah, bro, I'm going home to my wife, man. Like,
Right.
I have fun with you guys. We went out there, watched the game, watched a little concert, but it's like, I got to go home. So, my wife is the backbone of the family. She cares about people. She's my inspiration. I'm extremely fortunate to have her in my life. Takes care of the family, the children. We have 3 beautiful children who are incredible. But honestly, I was talking today with some few friends as content creators. Like, I don't think I would be successful as I am in the content space if I did not have my wife, right? And because we just know as men, in sports, there's a lot of temptations, so your focus isn't really there. For me, I can just focus, handle my business, network with women in the industry, but not be pressing them in different things and not working about alternative, types of mindset. So extremely thankful for my wife, man. She's a massive blessing. She's my best friend. Just like with any best friend, sometimes you have homeboys you grew up with that get on your damn nerves, you know what I'm saying? So it happens. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we'll argue over something stupid, like I left a cabinet open or something like that, or didn't shut the refrigerator all the way, and then after that it's like, okay, let's come down and watch our TV shows and eat dinner and have some fun. So yeah, man, me and my wife, we do a lot together. We travel the world. Like, that's my best friend. I said the only thing she can't do is really play Madden, and she really doesn't care about sports. But besides that, I really have no problem. So, yeah,
that's awesome. So you got y'all have children together?
Yes. So 3. So my oldest daughter, who's living her faith journey. So she's actually on a mission right now. So she's preaching the word, she's preaching the gospel out in the Philippines.
Wow.
That's right now. So she's doing that. And then our middle son, he's going to the University of Kansas. He's doing a lot of film and studying for movies and wanting to be a director. So he's my Jayhawk. And then my youngest son, Jay Tuck Jr., he's playing soccer. He's actually a junior. So yeah, they keep us busy for the most part. But I love my family. We have it, faith, family, and football. It's really that order, it's really that order for me. Like I said, once again, maybe because I'm no-blooded, that's something that Bobby Broughton always kind of preached as well. So, it's really just that order, God, family, football. I mean, honestly, football is kind of further down the priority list, if I'm being honest. But, right. My family is everything. And I wouldn't be able to be as successful as I am without my wife and also my children. I always tell people my very first live show, it was my kids in the chat, right? Just to make sure it works. Those were my first 3 subscribers. Hey, Dad, I was just talking on a live show. Hey, Dad, hey, it's working. Can we go now? It's just like, so I was like, and I still to this day remember when we got our first person in the chat. They were just like typing questions. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, don't bug them because they're gonna leave. So it's kind of fun for them to see me build what I've built, and I think it always encourages them to go for their dreams, right? They're like, Dad's just doing side missions. Like my dad, me. I've met a lot of incredible people, but when I took the photo with Ninja, it was just like, oh my God, my dad's with Ninja, and he took it to school. And so, a lot of the things I do is kind of show them, hey, put your dreams, in the forefront and go after it, and don't be afraid of failure. So, extremely thankful.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned Bobby Bowden. My dad that raised me, my stepdad, his name was Verlin Bowden, and that was his uncle.
Okay.
It was like our great uncle. Yeah. So
yeah, right here.
Oh,
rest in peace, Coach Bowden.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Small world. But yeah. So did you? Speaking of that, so how do you balance that? Well, what drives you to balance that? Just the love, or just how you were raised, or?
I think for me, like balancing like content and family and all that stuff. One, the priorities. I think making everything a priority. Knowing where your priorities are. But 2, scheduling, man. Like, I am a person who lives or dies by my calendar. So I have everything in my calendar. So, I have your guys' show. Like tomorrow I'm going to the movies to see. So everything's in my calendar. And then I just dedicate that time to what's in that calendar. So, tonight at 7:00 when I go live from 7 to 8:30, my wife's already knows, right? But if my son has a soccer game, that's in the calendar. So if you ask me to go live at 6 and he has a soccer game, I cannot go live at 6 o'clock because I'm gonna be at a soccer game, right? So it's just calendar scheduling, making things a priority, and then having a focus, right? When it's time to work, it's time to work. When it's time to relax, it's time to relax, you know. But she doesn't mind it because she knows this is my passion. And she knows, like, hey, there's a lot of worse things my husband could be doing versus being downstairs on the live stream talking to Cowboys fans about God knows what. So she doesn't mind it, man. And a lot of people ask, like, you know, see me, you know, playing video games. She was like, why would I care if my husband's playing? He's downstairs. Like, he's literally, and so my wife says, you know, hey, I want to go to the movies. I'll then turn the game off. I'm not one of those guys that be like, oh, you're making me get off the game. I'm like, no, bro, I'll turn the game off, go to the movies, and then when we get back, I'll get back on the game. Like, it's just, you know, so yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, it's just scheduling, the priorities for the most part, right? And being transparent, you know, I think that's the case, right? You know, my wife knows me, like, I'm not down here being sneaky and trying to do, you know, like, you know, I do have a lot of female content creators that I do have come on my show. They know, like, sometimes my wife will talk to them like, oh, you know, this is Aisha calling me, you know, like, okay, she's like, oh, so, you know, so it's like, you know, but being transparent. If I was sneaky or trying to, you know, change their name in my phone, then that would probably open up different things. But transparency. So a lot of people will ask me like, yo, Tuck, why do you always travel by yourself? Well, one, my wife's a principal, so she just can't travel as freely as I can, right? But she does trust me to go by myself, and oftentimes she'll message me or FaceTime me, and she'll be like, where are you at? And I'm like, in the room, eating Subway, watching the game, watching film. You know, I'm a film junkie, as you guys all know. Like, often when she's messaging me, you guys might see me in Vegas or Orlando or wherever, I'm just in my hotel room watching film, especially around draft season. So she doesn't mind it. So yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to get into some football now.
Okay.
Now that we've talked about the faith and the family. If you want to go ahead, Ken, and ask them the next question.
Oh, sorry, real quick. I just got to say this because you triggered something in my brain. Whenever I get into it with other fans, they always criticize Cowboy fans for not watching football. And I'm like, dude, I watch Okoye. I watch Jay Tuck. These guys
Right.
break down film. Like, what are you
Right.
talking? So it's just like, I had to say that.
Yeah, it's and you know what's so crazy, right? Those football fans come to me, right? So, you know, of course we have the Cowboys Eagles divide or whoever, Commanders, but a lot of their fan base really does follow me because draft season, you have to come see me, right? So if you want to know about Eli Stowers, who just drafted, more than likely when you search his name, you're probably going to find it from Jay Tuck, right? Or Mekhi Lemon or so-and-so. So, you know, I have tinkered with the idea of opening my draft content doors up for everybody, but I tell people the way that I'm able to do it, the way that I can at the high level I can, is because it's the Cowboys, right? It's because I just bleed silver and blue. So the passion keeps me up at 3 a.m. watching film on some offensive tackle from Chattanooga, because I'm trying to fix us. If you say, you know what, Tuck, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals guy, who should we draft? Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. So if you can tell me what you're looking for, I can tell you the groceries you need to go get. But I don't know all the Bengals or the Browns' biggest needs because I'm focused on the Dallas Cowboys. And so, but yeah, Dallas Cowboys fans, they watch tons of film because a lot of them follow me. And if you want to follow me, you stay in the lab. So as you already know, so it's funny when people say that.
So how do you become a Cowboys fan?
Yeah, right.
Oh, can you hear me?
How did you become a Cowboys fan? He said.
Great question. Mama raised me. So she was a huge fan of Tony Dorsett. So by the time in my room, my bedroom was all Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, because that's who I'm named after, right? So that was 1000%. And then like my playroom and like my bathroom was Dallas Cowboys, everything. You know, so I was raised to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. But I tell people the time that I really realized I was a Dallas Cowboys fan is when we got Deion Sanders. That's when it's like, all right, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, because my best friend, his name was Aaron. His dad was a big San Francisco 49ers fan. So back then, you know, it was a tug of war, and, you know, and I'm not sure if you guys remember, because I'm a little old, like the game Pogs. He's at like a 49ers Pog set and all, you know, so like his whole house was 49ers. So I would go over to visit. He's like, man, you know what? I'm like, I mean, I kind of like Steve Young and Jerry Rice, but no. My mom says a Cowboys fan, but when they got Deion Sanders, it was just like, all right, I'm a Cowboys fan for real. That's when I was, back in the day, you really probably shouldn't have did it hindsight, but I was wearing the blue bandana to school, right? The big star jerseys, those are my favorite jerseys, and high stepping on the playground. Like, it was to the point where my mom was like, you cannot wear that Deion Sanders jersey to school today. You have to wash it. It's just like, like, all right. So, but I just remember, getting interceptions on the playground and just couldn't wait to hit my dance up. And, I was drawing pictures of Deion in my notebook. And it's just like, people remember the video game, Primetime Football on Sega and, all those different things, man. So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. And then I still have it, which is so crazy because I guess, back in the day, you used to get like extra larges, but the Dallas Cowboys starter jacket, the pullover with the pouch, still got it in my closet. It's warm as heck as all get out. But when I had that, man, you couldn't tell me anything. I remember for Christmas, I wanted a Troy Aikman jersey. I wanted, and I still have it, right? The Logo Athletics turtleneck that folds down and says Logo Athletics. I wanted the Deion Sanders shoes, and I wanted that pullover jacket. And that's all I wanted for Christmas, is cowboyed up. So from that, it's just been a wrap, man. It's all I know. I've never cheered for another team. My family and cousins are here in Kansas City. Could never do it, right? It's just Dallas Cowboys football is just all I know, which makes my job easier and easier.
Man, that's what's up, man. Yeah. So all these years later, man, what got you into covering the Cowboys?
Which is crazy, right? Never really thought I would be doing this. I came in 2020 into the game. So I have to give a huge shout out to my guy, Skywalker Steel. Because I was always talking about the Cowboys on Twitter, just randomly, because people don't remember Cowboys Twitter used to be a small niche. Like, it was probably like 20 of us, and we all knew each other. It's funny, right? Some of the people I've known, like Pastor Carl and Jen, and those, like, their kids are adults. Like, I remember when you had, so it's like we've been knowing each other for that long. But I was always talking Cowboys football on Twitter, going back to the Dak Prescott draft. So the things that I'm doing is not new. It's just that people are aware. But Skywalker still had reached out to me and was like, yo, man, you should come on my show. It's like, all right, cool. So I came on the show. I sit out there, on an old MacBook laptop. And we were talking about the 2020 draft. And I was like, yo, the Dallas Cowboys, if they are going to draft someone, I would draft CeeDee Lamb. And I remember peeking over, seeing the chat, and we all know how the chat can be. They're like, we don't need offense. Why is this guy's an idiot? We need to go with Clavion, Chason, and Cesar Ruiz. And I'm just like, well, we could go defense, but I'm just, I'm like pushing off, right? And we talked for like 2.5 hours. And then after the show, like, a lot of people like, yo, where's your channel? I was like, I don't have a channel, but I guess I'll start one. So I started up a channel, and my very first video was me saying, if I was the GM for Dallas Cowboys or a scout for Dallas Cowboys, my pick would be CeeDee Lamb, right? And, of course, people, he's not going to be there, and then bang, it hit, right? So a lot of people are like, okay, he predicted CD, but then my real claim to fame, you go back to 2016, I was at the draft in Chicago, the Zeke draft, right? And Good Morning America was like, all right, Cowboys fans, who should the Dallas Cowboys select today? And my golden tweet, Dak Prescott, hard worker, proven leader, had a great Senior Bowl. I would love to have him in Dallas. And then bang, here we still are today. Dak Prescott is our quarterback. So it's been up from then, man. It's been a massive blessing. It's still surreal to me, to be honest with you, when, people like yourself, like, yo, I watch your content, it's just like, I was, I remember I was in Aruba. It was a crazy thing. Me and my wife were in Aruba, and I'm at the pool, and these guys are like looking at me. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I was saying, like, why are they staring? So I'm like, oh, like, I ain't been talking to nobody's girl or anything like that. I've just been over here vibing, right? And like, these 5 guys came in. I was like, yo, bro, can we ask you a question? I was like, what? They were like, you're the draft wizard, aren't you? I was like, what do you mean by that? He's like, are you Jay Tuck, the draft wizard? And I was like, Yeah, and they're like, bro, we fought. So like they're bringing over their kids and everything, and I'm just like, so of course, naturally, the fear of missing out. So they see a crowd of people coming over to meet me and take pictures. There's just random people like, oh, I'm like, you have no idea who I am. So it's just like the love that I get from Cowboys fans or just NFL fans, whether I'm at AT&T Stadium. Heck, when I went to the San Francisco 49ers playoff game, there was a bunch of 49ers fans that invited me to their tailgate because they follow my content. So it's just been a surreal experience, man. And I really just starting in 2020 because there was nothing to do. So I always tell people, I came in Garrett Gilbert and Andy Dalton as my quarterback. So I came through one of the roughest seasons. And so since I thrived through that, man, I feel like I can make it through anything, any kind of season content wise, because my first year was the worst. It's just like, man, going out there like Garrett Gilbert versus the Steelers and being like, oh, we can still win. Like, bro, you have no chance of this game. The Ben DiNucci Eagles game and all sorts of stuff, man. So I've been through the worst. So everything's been up and up since then, man. But I'm extremely blessed for the platform and things I've been able to do.
That's awesome, man. Hey, I know that you predicted Caleb Downs to come to the Cowboys too, right? Yeah. Well, I did too. I'll be honest, because I was at the draft in
the jersey on.
Yeah, with the jersey on. I was the only one wearing a red jersey there. What is this guy? Who is he? He's got a Cowboy. Is that a 49er jersey? I'm like, no, this is the Ohio State jersey. Ohio State. And they're like, we're not getting him. We're not. I'm like, we're going to get him. Watch.
Yep.
And sure enough, we got him. And then after that, all the news stations wanted to interview me. I was on all the news stations and everything. So
there you go, man.
It was an awesome experience, bro. Yeah. And then everybody wanted to take pictures with me after that. How'd you know? How'd you know?
Believe
Holy Spirit,
man. Because I was feeling on Wesley, bro. There's no way he's going to be there. And I remember we did a show with Skywalker Steel. And I was like, you know what? It's going to happen, Tuck. You got one more magic trick left in your old wand. It's going to be there, right? So I made the prediction that the Dallas Cowboys would draft Caleb Downs, and then it just hit, and everyone was like crazy. But now I have a few. I have Dak. I have Overshown.
You need to start making bets on that.
Well, I tell people, right? A lot of people ask me, how do I do it? One, it's a lot of work, right? A lot of work. But two, I can pick up on cadences from the Cowboys. Like, it was hard this year because Christian Parker was brand new, right? But like Dan Quinn, I knew what Dan Quinn liked. So Sam Williams was easy to pencil in. I knew what Mike McCarthy liked, so it was easy to kind of pencil in. So like you can kind of just pick up on trends and different things. So it's always funny because, even this year, I had a kid from Kansas named Tommy Dunn Jr. come on my show. Out of Kansas, I covered the University of Kansas, their football team, and had him on my show. All right. Just thinking nothing on him, but I just watched this kid up and close and personal. And he hits me up like a week later, like, yo, Tuck. So what's up? He's like, the Cowboys just hit me. They invited me to Dallas Day, right? They invited him to Dallas Day. And then now they brought him in as a UDFA. So he's getting ready for Oxnard, the Cowboys. So it's like, I'm seeing what they're seeing, so it's kind of fun, but it's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Malachi Lawrence, our other first round draft pick? Is he think he's going to be good? Or
I like Malachi Lawrence. I feel like he's the forgotten draft pick. So I feel like we're skipping, right? We go from, oh man, Caleb Downs is phenomenal. Then a lot of people jump over probably like Jayshon Barham. Like they act like Malachi Lawrence wasn't a first round pick. When it comes to Malachi Lawrence, I watched him at UCF, and I've said this when I was scouting him. Outside of Ruben Bain, he probably has the cleanest toolbox as a pass rusher in the draft, right? Just his hands, the preciseness of his timing. He has the size, he has length, he has motor. The only thing he doesn't have is just the godly first step off the line of scrimmage, right? So he's not going to wow you with that. But think of this as like DeMarcus Lawrence, right? He's kind of a 3-down edge. He's going to do his job, right? Set the edge, high motor type of guy. And then he'll win pass rush. He's not he's not Micah, right? Let's just kind of get over, right? So I think people are looking for that. It's hard to find that, right? And that was another pick that Brian predicted, but it's hard to find that. But Malachi Lawrence is a guy who I think Cowboys fans, as we get out here to Oxnard, they'll say, okay, his name's starting to buzz a little bit. Had a decent Senior Bowl, but the upside is there, the potential is there, and the effort is through the roof.
You still there, Mike? Oh, he's muted. Yeah, I can hear me. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah. So I just had a question about just you making content. Like, how do you balance out the negative comments? I know you haters, other content creators. How do you stay focused and dialed in on what you can do?
Great question, man. That's a really good question. Not the easiest, I haven't always done the best job at it, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better because I'm at the point where I'll say in my career, and a lot of people don't like it. It's like, yo, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tuck it. You know what I'm saying? I've already done everything. I've covered every major event. I've, got to work with some of the greatest athletes in the world, some of the greatest Cowboys players in the world. Like, so it doesn't really get to me anymore because I know it's not going to stop anything. Right. And I've learned that what my new motto is attention is currency. Right. So if you say, Ken, tuck you suck or tuck you're a clown. Right. And I ignore it, we're good. But if I start to focus on you going back and forth with you on Twitter and rah, and you should pull up and send me and we're doing this back and forth, right? The only thing you're getting is my people's attention to focus on, well, who is Tuck talking to, right? And then what I allow it to happen is, let's say me and Ken's been going back and forth over something all day on Twitter. Now Mike is asking me for a show, and I'm not in my best state of mind because I'm still kind of mad about what was going on, right? So I can't let people take that away from me. That energy is valuable. So for me personally, I really just ignore it, right? And now on social media, I figured out ways to kind of maneuver around it, right? The mute button, on YouTube, right? There's people who post a massive comment, right? This film sucks, whatever, right? And all you can do is just say, mute it, right? That person can still type in your comments all they want. No one's seeing it. I can see it when I go through my YouTube studio, but I've had guys who are people who I've muted them and they're just still going back and forth and no one's responding. So they'll cha-da-da-da, right? And so they keep going. And I was like, bro, you can chat away. Nobody is seeing that on the channel, right? So, block people, protect your energy. It does get hard. For me personally, it's really not the trolls and people in the comments. Sometimes it's the people who are like peers, I would say, like media members and radio stations. Like sometimes that kind of hits you a little bit because, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just talking to Cowboys fans, right? But I realized that it's because you're accomplished, right? You are a voice that can move things. So that is the reason why they come at you in a different approach, right? You could say, Ken or Mike, you can go tweet right now, hey, I think the Cowboys should extend George Pickens next year, right? If I say it, we don't need to pay two wide receivers that much. This guy's an idiot. And it's like, my goodness, can I just talk to my people? Can I just get my thoughts out right? So, I've learned to kind of deal with it. And one of my good friends, I've known since second grade, he's like, Tuck, what do you think Shannon Sharp goes through? What do you think, Pat McAfee goes through? So the bigger you climb, all is going to happen. It's going to be more voices. You need to prepare yourself for it because you can't fight everybody. You can't be bickering back and forth. So it's just a thing that I had to learn over time. But yeah, originally I didn't because I was crashing out a lot. Yeah.
So we're going to kind of skip down to the last two questions on football, 14 and 15. If you were a GM for a day, what's one move you would make like right now? Would you go after a Max Crosby? Would you go after the linebacker from the Dolphins? Or what would you do differently? Or if there's one thing you could do differently or do now?
Great question. Now I would call to see about Max, but more than likely the Raiders will probably hang up on me and say, nah, that ship has sailed, right? Because I'm not trading George Pickens. I know some people talk about CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith. Nah, so that's out the window. All right. So for me personally, as a GM, what I would do is I'm gonna call Clayton Adams and Ryan Smith's old team in the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm gonna try to bring James Conner in as your RB2 alongside Javonte Williams. That would be my number one move, because I feel like, one, you have a proven guy in James Conner behind Javonte, who played phenomenal last year, but you have an insurance policy. And two, I think our Achilles heel, we know San Francisco, going through the NFC West, Seattle, Super Bowl. James Conner's the guy. Oh, I've been there. I ran all over them boys before. So that's he's not going to be afraid of San Francisco defensive front. And then you have Jaden Blue, who you can sprinkle in. So if I'm a GM and Jerry's asking me, Tuck, what's the move that you would make to have a massive ripple effect outside of Max Crosby? I would say go get James Conner. Alvin Kamara would have been my other one, but he just signed today, so he's out the wire. So, because here's the thing, Cardinals not going to use him. You just signed Love, so it's like he's maybe going to get a carry, 4 carries at max. Bro, send him over to Dallas and let him be our RB2 and be our 1-2 punch with Javonte and James Conner. And I think that bring that physicality and violence that Shotty really wants in the run game. And so that would be my move.
Send him a 6th or 7th rounder, right?
Yeah, bro, what are we doing? Maybe toss in, like a Kalen Carson or something too. Like, all right, bro, like, because you're not going to use him. Like because you got Trey Benson out of Florida State. You also got Jeremiah Love. Where's his carries going to come from?
Something's going to happen soon. They're either going to cut him first or not. I can't believe they haven't already cut him, but
right. So I was like, man, here I got a 6th round pick, bro, and Kalen Carson.
Yep, I agree with you, man. I think that we need to do the same thing. Go get another running back for insurance, because if Javonte goes down, we're screwed.
Exactly. A lot of people speak highly about Jaden Blue, and I do think he's taking a leap in the right direction, but I don't think he's a guy that can carry us for 4 to 5 games, not with this schedule, right?
He's not a bell cow back.
Yeah, he's not a bell cow, right? He's a change of pace, 6 or 7 splashy plays, maybe, few little screens out the backfield and call it good. But I need a guy because I feel like Javonte was wearing down at the end of the year as well. And like I said, the way that our schedule was set up, you got some dogs out there. So it's like, you better have that ground game ready to go.
Different, really. It might even be harder than last year's.
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah.
We always have trouble with those NFC West teams for some reason.
Right, exactly. So go get a guy he's ran through the NFC West, right? And a lot of people say, well, he's injured. Well, he's not going to be the lead back. He's going to have Javonte, so you might give Javonte 20. You might give him 10 or 12, right?
Yeah, it's really hard for a back to get through one season, let alone get through 2 seasons being a bell cow back without getting injured.
Right.
So I think it would be good. I mean, that's how Seattle was so good last year, with both the backs. So,
like I said, he's familiar with Clayton Adams. So it was like,
40, all of those NFC West teams have multi backs. Even like a lot of the good teams like Detroit, and you just got to have 2 backs in today's NFL.
Yeah.
So what was the last question on football? Ken, did you have that pulled up?
Yeah. What's your predictions for the season?
Good question. Well, naturally, it better improve. You know what I'm saying? It better improve. I think the Cowboys will be around winning the division. I think the difficult part is seeing like what that magical number is going to be, because everyone's schedule is brutal. Even Philly, even the Giants, even Commanders. So I think the Dallas Cowboys, when we get to December, will be in the divisional race, if healthy. I have us, winning the division this year. And I do have us getting a home playoff game. And here's the thing. I'm not being a homer. I'm not just drinking the Kool-Aid, because people know I'm not a Kool-Aid drinker. I think they'll be built for the playoffs this year, hopefully, because a lot of the juggernauts that you're going to go through in the playoffs, you have to play them in the regular season, right? We'll see the Rams. We'll see Seattle. We'll see the 49ers. We'll see Philly twice, right? So outside of Detroit, we'll see Green Bay. So outside of Detroit, we'll see Tampa. There's nobody that you should be, I didn't see that coming, all right? So I think that we're going to take a lot of lumps early, but we'll be battle tested by the time we get to the playoffs at the end of the year, hopefully, right? That's my hope. So I'm thinking, playoff appearance, depending on the matchup, maybe get a playoff win in divisional round, and who knows from there. But I think the Dallas Cowboys should be a lot tougher than they was last year, to be honest with you. But got to stay healthy. That's my number one thing.
Gotcha.
For sure. I think we're going to be a lot better too with the new defensive scheme, the excitement that's going around, and just Christian Parker. And then, like we got Caleb Downs now. There's no excuse,
Right.
right? Like, let's get out there. And he's always in the film room and he's setting a standard. Said, I'm a rookie and I'm in the film room. What are you doing? Like, so I think our secondary with the players that we've brought in, we have probably the best safety room in the league, in my opinion, or has the potential to be, So, and then along with the Land Shark, and man, did you see that video yesterday of Revel? I mean, his feet were chopping fast,
Right.
So,
chopping,
man,
looking good.
I mean, we didn't see that out of Trayvon Diggs,
Right. Right.
He was hurt.
So, I mean, I'm excited about it. And if Deron Bland can come out and overcome this foot injury, man, and get back to what he used to be.
Yeah, look out.
Look out for this defense this year, in my opinion. So,
I agree.
So we'll get to these last parts, man. So
I got time. So I got.
So
do your thing, guy.
Y'all want to keep talking about football, or y'all want to close this thing out, man? So you got any other questions, Ken, about football?
No, not really. I mean, it's kind of hard because it's just been guys and just PJs out there playing. I mean,
yeah. I think we're all kind of itching to get back to just real football pads, right? Because I'm trying to caution Cowboys fans. You're so eager for football. One little on Twitter, and you see, oh my God, thinking they're like in minicamp, they were like, oh man, like, oh, Jaden Blue, he had it, bro. They don't have any pads on, like, at all. Like, they don't, like, not even like shoulder pads. Like, they, like, you literally get fined for practicing too hard. So it's like, relax just a little bit. I'm saying? I understand it. I'm excited too, but like, oh my God, yeah, I told you he was coming this year. You go. I could probably, after watching Conor McGregor, it's like, I don't know, but I probably could have made it through mandatory mini camps and probably would have came out all right. You know what I'm saying? I probably, so it was like, all right, bro, let's just wait and then we can see it. And I always caution Cowboys fans, if you can't see it with your own eyes, I personally don't trust it, right? I personally don't trust it because, granted, it's no knock on media members, but they are reporters, right? They're not analysts. They're not going to know, hey, they were in 3-3-5 penny and they were rocking and rolling their safeties. So like, that's kind of like my job, and Koye, like, it's our job, right? So it's like, oh, cause I remember when it was 1 year, they're like, oh man, I think it was CD, like, oh, CD did this route, man, I've never seen it before. I was like, a sluggo? Oh, what's that? Like, you slant and you just go? Oh yeah, I've never seen that before. Yes, you have. You've seen it 1,000 times on a Sunday. Like, you probably, so it's like, some of those things, but it's all fun. And I'm excited for it. So yeah, but just caution yourself.
Man, I can't wait either. We went to training camp last year out in Oxnard and ran into Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
And they kept running into us everywhere because the hotel we were staying at, he was carrying some groceries in from Walmart. And I was like, what's up, Trayvon? He's like, what's up? And I took a video of him.
Not the Trayvon, man. I know a lot of people, bag on Trey, man. But he's a really good dude, man. I talked to him the other day. Good spirits. He's waiting for his opportunity. So just say, hey, bro, get ready. Like, I've gotten the opportunity to be blessed in a situation where I have met players, and I don't want to say built relationships, but I've spoken with them, and it's like, I don't wish them any harm. Like, I know from a fan perspective, it's like, he's gone, so good riddance. But I'm actually working on a new project. But people that understand, like, athletes are human.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, I've been around, Dez, right? Dez likes to do the same thing. He's probably playing a video game right now. Like, he's probably if I go on place, he's probably online, right? So he likes spending time, with his family. All the things that we just talked about, they like to do. It's just, they can just run faster and jump higher. Like, that's just the main separation. So I think that, it's hard. I get it as a fan, but we treat players sometimes as commodities. Like, it's just something we pull out on Sundays for our entertainment. And after that, put them back on the shelf, and I can care less about them, right? But you think there's pain that people go through. And I remember last year when we had the tragic passing of Marshawn Nealon, a lot of people were messaging players like, oh, use this as motivation to win the Super Bowl. Well, that's not, Yeah. You're thinking about yourself, right? You're not thinking about they lost a brother, a teammate, someone that you talk to every damn day, and maybe your locker was right next to them. They're gone. The first thing's on your mind, well, just use that for a Super Bowl. And that's like me coming to someone's job and you lost a family member or a brother. I'm like, oh, well, use that as motivation to be the top sales rep. Like, like it's just, but it's just one of those things, unfortunately. But salute to Trey, man. I know he'll bounce back.
Yeah, he will, man. Yeah, they had us go get him some chicken strips at the game. So
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and we got it on video. And Micah Parsons grabbed the chicken strips, and it was funny, man. But it was good times. Micah's funny, man. If you get like his little smirks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but people on Twitter, like, they just hate Micah, and I'm like, dude, like, he was great.
It's the case of the exes, right?
Yeah.
That would be like, if me and my wife got divorced, right? And then I'm coming on Twitter like, yeah, I hate my wife. She was horrible. Like, well, Tuck, you just did a whole show the other day praising her, saying she was the best. No, man, I'm glad she's gone, bro. Because so it's like, we don't remember that Jerry Jones was having his inauguration at camp last year, and he couldn't get his sentences out because this crowd was screaming, "Pay Micah." But forget all that. But now since he's gone, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm glad he's gone. I really didn't like him. Like, bro, you're lying. I can literally go on Twitter right now and select hashtag Pay Micah and see. Well, that was they'll lie and say that's before he laid on a table.
Yeah.
That was the deal breaker. He laid on the table. Now, if Micah Parsons, y'all, would have laid on that table and came back and signed for $29 million, nobody would have cared about that damn laid on the table.
Yep.
So it's just, but I get it. It's the fan side. And I think that's the hardest part when people who follow me, right? They know I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. They see me at games. I bleed blue just like everyone else. But I also have a responsibility as an analyst to call it fair, right? As a reporter to call it fair. Because I'm just saying, hey, man, Ken asked me how the Cowboys going to, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Well, hell, y'all don't need me here. Anybody can do that. So it's like they don't understand the uncompromised aspect that I provide. And I always try to tell people, hey, Monday through Saturday, I'm an analyst. Sunday, I'm a fan. Right. And that's why I really don't, I've turned down numerous opportunities from mega networks like, yo, come on our show and do pre on. I don't want to on Sunday. Sunday's for me. Right. It's just, I did all the work. And then, hey, I'm in my man cave out there, the TV on blast and got some wings and some food and I'm ready to go, or I'm at the game myself. I don't want to really work, it's funny. I said that I had a conversation 2 days ago. Another company's reaching out, offering me a mega deal, and my wife's like, "That's a damn good offer." Like it really is, but it's just like Sundays for me. That's one. So yeah,
we're gonna be out there. Speaking of that, the opener in New York. I already got my tickets to the game.
There you go. You're already set. I know one for sure. I'll be at San Francisco. I'm really leaning towards I want to come to LA. So I've never been to SoFi. I also want to go to Seattle. Seattle's, but that's kind of like the back half of the season.
SoFi's faster than Jerry World, in my opinion.
Is it? See, I never seen it, but then again, it's like Tuck, the Super Bowl is there, so I'll be out there in LA. So it's like,
that's what I said. If they make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna.
You got to, man.
Yeah, man.
So I'm gonna fire back a question though, because I've always asked myself this: if the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, would you rather be at the game or in Dallas?
Ooh,
probably in Dallas with the fans, because at the draft that was fun. Like when Caleb Downs got drafted and we were there at the Star, like that.
Yeah, it was lit.
That's all, because I've been in numerous Super Bowls, and I was there when Kansas City won. But when you're in Vegas, right, you win. Oh, the Chiefs Super Bowl, right, and you're walking out. It's Raiders fans. It's me, Cowboys. It's not the same energy versus being in Kansas City or in Dallas when the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl and everything erupts, right? It's just like, okay, now we have to find an Uber. Cowboys win a Super Bowl. Oh, this is amazing. All right, where's the Uber line at? Oh man, it's a wait. Wait, how far is he away? Oh man, should we walk? It's like I don't, what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. So I think that for me personally, if it happens, I would probably be down there Monday through Saturday and then head out and be at Dallas with all the Cowboys games. Plus it's cheaper because I had friends who paid the 2020, 2021.
You're talking
They
about
paid a
hanging
bunch
out in LA Monday through Saturday and then flying to Dallas on Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. So go out there, do all, the media coverage, all the fan festivals, all the parties, all that fun stuff. And then Sunday, fly to Dallas for the game and be around my people.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just depends on how the vibe is. I know if Dallas is not having a good season, I don't want to go to the LA game. But if they are having a good season, I might go out there to that LA game.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of my games are on the back half, because now I'll see what they're really about, right? If they come out 0-3, I ain't going nowhere. Like I'm saying, yeah.
Exactly.
If we come get punched on by the Jackson Dart and then lose to Jaden Daniels, then I'm cool, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Man, I think it's going to be a great season, man. I'm praying that everybody stays healthy. As long as Dak can stay healthy, we got a shot, man.
Facts.
So
Facts.
Let's keep him protected. Hopefully those left and right tackle that we have on our team, Guyton and the other guy on the other right side from Texas Tech.
Right.
Both of them guys can hold up, man, all season long.
Right.
I know Nate Thomas is a good backup too, man. So I think we're good there. As long as our interior can stay healthy and we don't call any bonehead plays where we run CeeDee Lamb at running back.
Out the backfield, right.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Exactly. Facts.
So, I'm excited about it. Our offense is good, man. I just think if our defense can just pick this system up and start running it at a high level, we'll be a really good team to contend this year. So
perfect. Yep.
If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, J Tuck, what would it be?
Ooh, good question. It's probably a long conversation. Stay true to you. Right. Stay true to you. I think that's where, I really pivoted off track was, just the influence of being around, new people once you got to college and, being in the music industry for a little bit and, bringing in different people and different crowds, right? You kind of lose it because you get caught up. And what happened was I didn't have my circle of friends that I grew up with that just knew me, right? It was just new people, new voices, because everyone's going to college and their own things, right? So I kind of just lost myself and then stayed true because it's hard, right? I was DJing clubs, I could go to any nightclub I wanted to. Everybody knew me, my songs on the radio, And so you had so much access, you kind of lose who you are. I always say I lost to Jordan Tucker and was just completely just the J Tuck monster because I didn't have balance, right? So I feel like now I do a really good job of balancing both, right? You get the Jordan Tucker aspect, the father, the faith, all that fun stuff, the IQ, but you also get the J Tucker. I say it's a season. That's the seasoning on top of, of that. So I think that would probably what I would tell my younger self. Hey, stay true to you, man. Like, know who you are, right? Because like I said, I was raised to be an independent person, do my own thing, but it was just get wrapped up in it, man. Like, being a young 22-year-old and with all that access, and now it's like I see kids with NIL and all sorts of stuff, which is millions. So I understand it even worse, right? But yeah, I would say stay true to yourself.
Absolutely. Well, that's been a good podcast. We're going to end with a little prayer and then we're going to move on with our day, I guess. It's man, it's hot over here in Texas right now.
I bet, man. Texas heat's different.
It is hot. I know he's down in Houston, so he's probably got it worse than we got.
Oh, so I might be your way, King, because I'm thinking about going to that Texans game.
We're going to that. Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, I might be there because my college roommates, they're all from Texas or Houston, so I might, but I know it's a noon game, and I personally don't like noon games.
And then the following Thursday, though, I was thinking about going out there because the following Thursday is the Tampa Bay night game, Thursday night.
So, I don't like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about one of those two, but the 49er game is going to be in Dallas, so that's going to be too. So.
Yeah. The San Francisco game, that's the one I'll be at for sure.
We finally have to get over the hump. I remember when Dak was a rookie, we beat him. and I was at that
When
game.
Zeke and Pollard went, or no, we beat them again though. When Zeke and Pollard went crazy.
Really? Okay, I remember the game in San Francisco when Dak was.
Yeah.
I thought that was the last time, but
Yeah, we beat them in Dallas one game. So I remember Pollard went bonkers on them, but
oh really? Okay,
yeah.
so maybe I forgot about that game.
Yeah, but lately, yeah, it's been a massive stonewall. So
yeah, it's the refs' fault. You know, we had like what 17 penalties in that pillar game.
right,
You know, like that was kind of ridiculous. But anyway,
right.
So yeah, man. So we just lift up the name of Jesus right now, and we thank you, Father, for all the blessings you've given us. We thank you for all the giftings you've given us, and we just lift your name up first, Lord. And we say that we put our faith in you first. And we thank you for this opportunity, this brotherhood that we've started today, because nothing happens by coincidence. So I think that today, Lord, was just your work, your hand, guiding us and protecting us through this. And we just thank you for the unity that we have, and all those times in our life that we look back that we didn't even know you were there, Lord, and you were there protecting us. So we just give you all the gratitude and all the thanks and all the glory. And we just ask you continue to bless Jay Tuck, Lord. I ask you to just have your hand upon him and just guide him the way that he needs to go, and speak to him, Lord. Speak to him in dreams and visions, Lord. And just whatever it is that you have him to do, Lord, that he would obey and that he would do it for you, Lord, because that is the number one thing that all of us need to do as believers, is just to hear your voice and to listen. No other voice shall we hear but the voice of the good shepherd. So we thank you for that. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. All right, fellas. Thanks again.
Sir. Yeah, man, it's been good. We'll do it again sometime soon.
Okay.
I'll have boots on the ground in New York here in 8 Sundays. So
yeah, crazy, man. Crazy to think about it. So here we go. Buckle up, man.
Yes, sir. And then, hey, if you're out there, man, if you change your mind,
I'll definitely hit you guys up. I was supposed to have been in New York this past weekend, but I can't. So I didn't want to, be out there in New York summer heat. So, but we might. So,
I'll be in Jersey, right across street from Manhattan. I've always stayed in Manhattan, but we're going to be kind of close to the stadium. And hey, Kim, why don't you tell him a little bit about your family?
Oh yeah, my cousin, he is Jesse Armstead. He played for the Giants back. He's in the front office, so we're gonna go there, and so
there you go. So maybe you can have him vouch and tell people I'm not Justin Tuck from the Giants, right? Maybe they'll listen to me, because I still get that all the time. Like,
somebody asked me that when I told him I was doing a podcast with you. Oh yeah, from the Giants. He used to play for I'm like, no, not him.
He's a good player.
We don't look nothing alike. We don't look nothing alike. Like I need to reach out to him, because I really want to do a show. I'm gonna try. Like, can someone connect me with Justin Tuck so we can do a show so everyone knows
I bet you can.
Yeah. So we can tell everybody we are not the same person.
Right. All right, man. Well, you have a good evening, man. And
all right, you guys have a good one.
Where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151, and my YouTube channel is CFO Sports. We do a lot of Cowboys content, doing a lot of film sessions, and then once we get out to camp, it's going to be all systems a go and breaking down camp and all the great news. And then you can find me on Wednesday nights on Cover 3 with my brothers Rome and DMV. And then tonight we have Aisha Morrison joining us from the DallasCowboys.com. So getting some inside nuggets. So we're about to have fun here in a little bit. So it's what we do. Here we are, it's season 6, right? 2026. Yeah, this is my 6th year, man. So I'm no longer one of the youth in the community, right? I'm one of the OGs now, which kind of sounds crazy, because I never would imagine I would have been doing this for this long and all the opportunities that's come along with it. But like I said, it's a huge blessing.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking your time out to join us, man. It was an honor to have you on our show.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime.